Hey, what's up? It's Teal Gamer with another edition of Shitty Development featuring Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now, this is going to be an extension video of the last video I made where I went through the entire beginning of the game and showed you just how badly the information was relayed to the player from the developer on how to use these systems. As you know, I was running around Baghdad for a little while, going over and basically pointing out all the problems with this. So in this extension video, I'm going to be basically, as the video title says, showing you that this game cannot be played. And what I mean by that is there is no tutorials or information or instructions about any of the systems, any of the mechanics, no nothing. And as far as I'm concerned, anybody that got a review copy of this, whether it be a code or a digital download or whatever, or a review code, was given the instructions on how to actually utilize very specific mechanics in this game and systems that allow you to actually utilize them in order to play the game. So the first thing I'm going to go over is people will say, oh, there's a tutorial, and they will bring your attention to this screen here and go into tutorials. So using exploration, I'm going to be giving you a baseline on how this actually works compared to the way people think it works, what's in the game here, and I'll also be using Assassin's Creed Origin as a base example to go over some preferences or what I think should have been in the game, and use that also to show you how some things actually aren't even explained at all. So starting with the world map here, I'm going to read this to you. It says, the world map will help you track your progress for each district and region and the world as a whole. There are an array of icons that will help you trace your current location, track quests, discovered activities and opportunities, fast travel points, your photos and those of other players, and so much more. So basically, I guess other players can put photos up as well, so you can see each other's photos. So continuing, you can also place a custom marker to track specific areas you want to explore. And then while hovering over any given territory, you will see its name, its difficulty, and your progress on the opportunities therein. You can always zoom in to observe a territory in greater detail. Now, the problem with this is people do not seem to want to get it through their head that this tells you what is available in the game and what can be done, but nowhere in here does it tell you how to actually do it. Okay, it doesn't give you any information on how to use the map, how to look at it, whether there's a legend, nothing. And I'm going to be going over those in greater detail when I bring up some of the other points in this. That brings me to the first problem, is that if you take a break from the game and then come back in like I did, and I've been walking around Baghdad here for a little longer now, for at least 4 more hours from the first video I did. So I've basically been in this game for basically about 8 hours. I'm going to bring your attention to that when you come back in, there is no explanation as what in the hell you're even supposed to be doing. Are you in the middle of a quest? There's no journal, there's no quest log, there's no missions, nothing. And if you want to bring your attention to this investigation, this is nothing more than a side thing to do, just like pickpocketing. It literally has no value to the game as far as what you're supposed to be doing, or are you supposed to be talking to anybody. None of that stuff was gone over, so you can't even utilize any of this stuff because you have no idea what in the hell is going on here. And that brings me to the first point about what's not being explained, and using Assassin's Creed Origins, I'll be bringing up the point about the eagle. Alright, in Assassin's Creed Origins, the eagle's name was Sanu, and when you were brought, when it was time to, introduce you to the eagle, the game actually had you go through and literally utilize the eagle to do specific things so you understood how to use it. This went as far as marking enemies on the map or other specific areas and things in the game or points of interest. This game doesn't do any of that. What it does is, if you go back to the beginning of the game, for those of you who want to argue with me, go back to the beginning of this game and go through the entire beginning section of this and get to Baghdad. You will find that you're given your eagle, but it's nothing more than a cinema cut where he's, kind of weirded out about using his eagle to begin with. And then as time progresses later on, you go through an entire bunch of cinematics where he's becoming more confident and he's learning to use his eagle. And then you get here. There isn't any information to telling you to bring up the eagle, how to mark things, or do anything. So as it stands now, the eagle in this game is completely and utterly useless. Let me show you. Okay, so you cannot use this eagle to mark anything or find anything. These icons are already on the map to begin with. Your eagle doesn't do a damn thing with this. In Assassin's Creed Origins, it would tell you to bring up your eagle's vision, pause the game like I have it now, and then if there were guards in here, it would say highlight the guards, and as you did it, let's say there were like 9 guards in here, you could go through and it would mark every single one of them on the map and bring up their level. It literally told you how to do this. So furthermore, in my last video, you'll see that there's a blue reticle here. What is this for? It doesn't go over anything on this. Is something supposed to be happening? Why is this blue? What is the point to this? Why did it grow smaller? Is something supposed to be happening here? And again, anybody that tries to say that they know what they're doing is full of shit, because there's nothing in the game that goes over anything on how to use this the way it did in Origins. That brings me to the second point about there is no color code in this game to figure out what's what. You can see that there's yellow icons, there's white icons. I found groups of NPCs that are blue. I found groups of NPCs that are red, and there is no explanation to what any of these icons are, why they're colored, or what the colors represent, or anything else. The map was never gone over at all. That brings me to the first marker that I want to put on the map here. If I open up the map and I mark this here, all right, there is no way to get into this building or house or structure, whatever you want to call this, that I'm on top of. I spent an hour and 15 minutes going around the entire perimeter of this from the ground up, and there is absolutely no way to get into this structure here. This is through the floor. And for those of you who want to try to argue, I literally went around like this. There isn't a window open. There is nothing here. And that brings me to the point on when you first come into the game, you have no idea what you're supposed to be doing because there aren't quests in the game or missions. Now, if this is supposed to show up during some mission where you can only get into it, then the game needs to tell you certain things inside structures can only be obtained during missions. It's not that difficult to put a message on the screen to relay this to the player. Otherwise, you're sitting there going around in an open world game trying to figure out what the hell to do here, and you can't, and there's no direction to go in. And if this is only for a mission, then that should only show up during the mission. I should not be seeing this if this is part of a mission. And that brings me to the point on what I was bringing up about when I was talking about having all these messages pop up on the screen when you're running around the streets, such as going to a blacksmith. Why am I seeing information about a blacksmith when I haven't visited a blacksmith? The way it needs to work is simple. If you have merchants in a game, there should be a mission or something. The game tells you, go talk to this person, and then what this person does, it's basically a tutorial on how to find and use the blacksmith or a merchant. So in this particular case, unless I've gone to talk to a blacksmith, I shouldn't be seeing anything about them. I should be given something to go to that blacksmith, gone through his menus. That way you're familiarizing yourself with them, and then the game needs to say, this is how merchants work. Period. And if there is a tailor that works differently, then they need to have a separate tutorial for that. Either way, they didn't go over any of this shit. Now, that brings me to the next point on the parkour in this. If you're hanging off of here, don't fall backwards, because you'll only propel backwards off of the wall. You will never be able to drop straight down. And God help you if you're up something, really high, because if you have no place to land, you're going to croak. Now, this brings me to the first preference issue on what Assassin's Creed Origins allowed. If you had fallen off a cliff or you wanted to get out of an area, you could literally open the map while you're falling and then go to a fast travel point. You can't do that in this game, which, again, that's a preference issue, but I'm just saying they should have allowed that in this. The next thing here is, if you jump off of this, if you jump off something, you have no way to actually break your fall. Meaning in Assassin's Creed Origins, I could go up high enough and I dropped down off a ledge or an area, or I fell off, I would be able to, in my case, because I'm using a wireless Xbox One controller, I could press the A button before I hit the ground and do a roll. You can't do that at all in here at all. You either fall off or you don't. There's no way to actually do that. Now that brings me to the next point on the interface here. In the bottom left corner of the screen, you see whatever this bottle is, and then there's a number 2 by it. What does that even represent? That doesn't mean anything. What does that mean? They didn't tell you what any of this stuff is. And no, I don't want to hear this crap. It's common sense. Now, I'm going to bring up one last point here by going to a fast travel point. And I'm going to go over by the entrance to the area of this city, or this round, I think it's the Rounds Market, or whatever the heck this is. I don't even know what the hell this is called. I've been looking at it. But the point here is that when you get in and out of this area, somehow, if you try to climb over the walls to get in to avoid the front door, you're going to enter a restricted area. If you go through the front door, you're basically bringing the attention of all the guards to you, which shouldn't be happening here at all. There is no reason whatsoever that in an open world game you should have to worry about attracting the attention of every guard in the entire place when you're getting into this area. There's no reason for it whatsoever. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the front of this, and I'm going to show you something that I have no idea what it's even for. When I go out the front here, where I think it's over here. Okay, when I go out the front here, yeah, it's around this corner. So when I go out the front here, watch what happens. I'm going to get these guards to chase me, and I'm going to point something out that should have been explained. Why is this a restricted area? Why is an entrance going in and out a restricted area? So I'm going to run, and I'm going to get something to show up on the screen. First of all, you have no idea if a guard is even chasing you, which, unless you turn around, which is kind of ridiculous because you kind of have to do all this. And I'm specifically looking for something to happen. These guards are chasing me. I have no idea where I'm going. I'm going to go up the wall here. See that gold thing that just happened? It's like an outline of myself. What is that gold thing? They never went over any of that on what that even is. Why is that? Is that something that happens to you? Like, what is the point to that? It literally makes no sense whatsoever as far as how that, like, what is that? So, as you can see, there is absolutely no information whatsoever on how to play any of this stuff at all, because there's no instructions, there's no information, no nothing. And there shouldn't be, that shouldn't be like this. This game should be fully explained before you even get to this point, as far as basic things. So, that's really all I can tell you, and I'm not going to sit and have people argue with me about, you know, well, you should know this or you should try that. I'm not trying nothing. The game's supposed to be, the developers are supposed to be relaying how to use the damn mechanics in this game. Whether you like it or not, that's the way this is. And I am not going to go look up what other people do in a video. It's not going to happen. Because even if you did, they will never tell you how they actually got to where they got to. For example, they won't say, oh, you know, I'm going to show you how to find these keys, and all they do is they show the bird being used, and they never said how they actually got that information to use the bird in the first place. You cannot use the bird, or the eagle in this case, to find anything. There's no way to mark anything, and there's no way to do anything. The bird is totally useless because there is no tutorial for how to use it like it should have been in Assassin's Creed Origins. So, with that being said, I'm going to sign out from this, and I'm basically now, I really need to get a refund for this game because it cannot be played because there's no instructions. Simple as that. Well, it's Teal Gamer signing out. Have a good day or night wherever you are. See ya.